Okay, I've got another email, another question. To summarize, this is a naturopathic doctor who finds herself in a great many with a great many ailments. She's a nurse practitioner, and she finds herself with a great many ailments. And to summarize, she says that she's able to help other people and take care of other people, but she's unable to take care of herself. She also asked if it's a past life pattern that's causing this to occur in this life. It was a very long email. I didn't want to read it all, but she describes herself as being quite intuitive and capable of reading other people and helping them, but that she's not able to apply the same thing to herself. And so I'd like to discuss these issues a little bit. So long as we're captured by mind or caught in the content of the mind and identification, there will be a certain hypocrisy with our love. Love will be conditioned. And we won't be able to express love in a way that is actually, that has integrity. It's almost like we write a specific clause into the universe: love everything but this, respect everything but this. There's sort of this altruistic concept that we should give to others first and not care about this. There's several issues that cause this to happen. The first is the identification that this is us. The second identification is that that to take care of this is selfish, and that it is better to take care of others. All that is entirely mind stuff that sounds very, very good. It sounds noble, but it is born of a feeling of other and self, born of a disconnect. And it is ripe with hypocrisy. And there are several ways to see through this. I'm not calling the emailer a hypocrite, by the way. This is Paula, by the way. I'm not calling her a hypocrite. I'm just saying I've been through this. I've done this, and I can see clearly that it was hypocrisy. It was not my hypocrisy. It is just the nature of hypocrisy. It's what the mind does. The mind creates exceptions. And if we don't see these exceptions, then we're blinded to what is actually occurring, and the blindedness to what is occurring causes a tremendous amount of suffering, both for us and others. Simple way to see through this is just project to yourself to, if you had a daughter or a son who was doing the same thing, how would you feel about that? They weren't taking care of themselves. They were taking care of everybody else, but not themselves. Would you want your child to develop with that mindset? It's like the father saying, stop smoking. Don't smoke, kid. You should never smoke. Right? While he's smoking, well, the chances are the kid's going to smoke. If you want to exemplify love in the world, you need to exemplify love from the very core of this to the world. And that includes this, as well as the world, as well as the universe. There's nothing excluded. It's from the very core of being to all that is. So long as love is personalized, there's this special caveat in the universal law: love everything except this. Take care of everything except this. And the assumption is that this is mine and I can do with it whatever I please. And it's not worthy of love, fundamentally, is what's really going on. Sorry for the glare in the glasses. There's a deep down voice that this is not worthy of love. The statement would go something like, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. And so there's this striving to be worthy of love by loving others, as if you could be any more or less worthy of being by what you do. Being is simply what it is. Spirituality is as it is. You can't be any more or less than is. There's no distance. There's nothing to achieve in that sense. Either we're experiencing love without hypocrisy, or we are not. And if we are putting caveats to the love, if we are putting caveats to the service, it's not love and it's not service. There's something else behind it that is utterly insidious. What will be given to others will be corrupted by that insidiousness. It's because you're giving something to someone else that you don't believe you are worthy of. And oppositely, there may be a kind of pride involved too. There's these two voices could happen, that you are better in some way than others. I'm not saying that that is Paula. I'm just speaking to a large audience here, so some people will have that. I know in my case, I had both going on at the same time. Sounds crazy. How could you have all these different voices going on at the same time? You have a lot of different voices going on at the same time, and they do not all coincide or agree with each other. There's a tremendous amount of noise and disharmony within at different levels of the brain and nervous system that produce different feelings and thoughts. And all of these thoughts and feelings are affecting behavior and perception of reality and the self. What I would suggest for Paula and most others there's a lot of people in the spiritual awakening path who are loving hypocritically, loving others, who are empathetic towards others, possibly sympathetic towards others, two different things. And that same light doesn't shine here. A model that I use to help bring this into more functionality. If one observes the body, one starts to realize that one's awakening perception, just the normal daily perception, and what the body does and what the body is are not exactly synonymous. The body does a great many things that you didn't ask it to do. You don't utterly control it. And it has, in a way, a mind of its own. And it has a great deal of knowledge that you are not aware of. A more accurate way of describing the body is not saying it's you. It's more like, it's like your first pet that you're born into riding. You're riding this pet. This isn't a truth. This is just a model that is, it'll start to reduce the hypocrisy that goes on and take you to the next step. Would you not take care of your pet? And if not, why wouldn't you? The pet needs to be loved. It needs to be cared for. And when this is being cared for properly, this is the first responsibility. If one can't develop the capacity to care for this properly, one cannot correctly take care of others in a way that will be sustainable. Because others will see the hypocrisy. There will be a stink on all service that occurs when there isn't love here. And so what we want to do is there's an atmosphere that just moves from the very center of being throughout all that is. And there isn't an exception to the love. So for Paula, I would recommend the first step is change the attitude towards this. Start viewing it differently. View it as not as if it's you or yours. Even your pet is not yours, but you do have a responsibility to take care of it. Your child is not yours, but you have a responsibility to take care of it, to love it, to nurture it, to allow it to heal and recover, and to allow it to express its greatest potential in the world. The spiritual awakening process is, in large part, a biological awakening. It's not just some woo-woo concept. It's not just an abstract concept. There's a biological process going on. The body itself is awakening. And if one is not caring for the body, the awakening cannot occur. The body is under too much stress. It's in survival mode. So we need to allow the body to step out of survival mode, allow the body to be able to actually express the knowledge that's buried deep within it, that even itself is not completely integrated and does not completely recognize. But allowing the body to step out of survival mode and to experience that atmosphere of love allows an integration of all this knowledge it's like a biggest library ever. It's all there. And it allows it to start to integrate in different parts, different intelligences within the body to communicate, and eventually there starts to become a clarity. So Paula, and for anybody else who has this issue, which is the vast majority of people on the spiritual awakening path, start viewing the exceptions. Start noticing the hypocrisy. Step out of the idea that giving to others is better than giving to self. There ultimately is not a self. Think of this as person. Think of those as persons. They're just persons. They're just people. This is not you fundamentally. Take care of it, and take care of others is to the take care of it in a way is very important. The way it's taken care of, not in a patronizing way or a condescending way, not as if you're above them. Take care of this so that the greatest potential of this could emerge. Assist others to bring out their greatest potential. Not in a way that's patronizing. Not in a way that puts you above them. But just in a way that is sharing. And what you will find by doing that is something more beautiful than you could possibly imagine. Something that utterly transcends words. And then the smallness, the feeling of smallness that we've been stuck in for all of our lives starts to loosen up. And there starts to be this kind of feeling of connectedness to all that is. That isn't about us specifically. It's not a pride. It's not a kind of arrogance. It's something that everybody has the potential for. It's there at all times. It's just not activated. It's just not realized. The way to realize it is unconditioned love. Start taking care of this in a way that allows it to bring out its greatest potential, which also means you're going to need to take care of this space around it and aid the people around you. It's all integrated. This will just spiral out into all that is. I'm not saying that this is going to be easy. There's a lot of fear, a lot of trauma. There'll be trust issues, all kinds of things that actually are behind this feeling of not taking care of the self, but being able to take care of others. And those things need to be explored and ultimately released. Explored thoroughly. So I hope that answers your question, Paula. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. There will be some viewers that would like to actually have a conversation with me. You're welcome to that. I do what's called public mentoring, and so we can have a conversation that's more in depth that maybe will help with certain situations. With certain situations, a simple question and answer like this doesn't necessarily help. Sometimes a conversation is necessary. Some individuals may seek a more long-term relationship, a mentorship type relationship where, you know, to get our lives back on track or to expedite this spiritual awakening process long term. And I have a mentoring page on my website, www.richardhaight.net. And so if you're interested in submitting a question, you go there, or you can email me at contact@richardhaight.net. If you'd like to set up a public mentoring conversation that we will put on YouTube, or if you'd like to have private mentoring, please visit that site and go ahead and read the description and how it is. And if it appeals to you, go ahead and contact me. And have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.